Welcome back, everybody. We are Beyond Movies. I am Callum. That is Confused Kyle, because he's always confused. How we doing, Kyle?
I'm alright, mate.
He's alright. He's alright. Right, anyway, let's get into it. We're a little bit late on this one, but people might want to hear what us... Don't look at the camera like that, you creep. Alright. Right. Jurassic World Rebirth. I remember back in 2015 when Jurassic World came out, Kyle says, "Do you want to go see Jurassic World? My treat." I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then we got up to the kiosk to pay for the tickets. He was like, "You're getting tickets then." Anyway, won't talk about that too long. What did you think of this trailer, Kyle?
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, you just looked
I
at me and went,
remember.
"Well, you've got a job in it, so..." Yeah.
Well, mate, you did have a job.
We were 15, Kyle!
Yeah, but you had a job. I was 15 without a job, so But yeah, what do I think about this trailer? It was all right. It kind of made me wish that this wasn't that this was the sequel to Jurassic World. I feel like it would have just fit so much better because I know, like, I've seen the second one. I refuse to go and see the third one. It just looks like it's going to waste my time. Yeah, it might have
Big
some
waste of
fun
time.
action, but
No, it's a big waste of time.
yeah, I can't. After your reaction to it, I was just like, meh, I'm not going to watch the third one. But Jurassic World was a pretty good sort of like soft reboot for the franchise. This feels like a sort of sequel to where they're going to take the things further. I don't know how it's going to deal with some of the things that happened in the Jurassic World films. It looks like they're going to have to like bend or even just retcons a load of things from those films, which is kind of annoying. But for me, I guess I consider Jurassic World canon, but I don't really consider anything else canon. So this could be like the next film of this
No,
franchise that I would want to follow.
it's definitely going on from Dominion. Um, I couldn't for the fucking life of me remember how that fucking film ends. 2022 that came out. Well, I've lived a bit since then. So
Yeah, it's cool to see ScarJo. Always great to see her in film. I think she's fucking awesome, and it's great to see her in this sort of main role for these films. So, well, hopefully films if this one turns out to be good and they don't do what they did with World. But yeah,
we'll have one solid start and then fucking straight back down the shitter. Yeah, no, look,
Yeah.
I enjoyed this trailer. It looked fun. Mahershala Ali is in this. He
It
was
looks like
actually,
he's having a lot of fun.
yeah, it's crazy to think that he was almost not in this because he would have been shooting Blade. But when Blade happens, I guess Blade happens. Obviously,
Blade doesn't happen.
yeah, Blade doesn't happen. What are your thoughts on Mahershala Ali being in this? I know you've recently just watched Green Book with him in
Yes.
that.
I didn't really enjoy Green Book too much. I think it's an okay film, but for me, it's just the performance of these two guys were pretty solid. And Mahershala Ali, I'm still very excited. Hopefully, he will be Blade. It's just it needs to kind of hurry the fuck up now.
Yeah.
Again, it's no fault on Mahershala Ali. Mahershala Ali wants this film to come out. He wants Blade to come out, but he looks like he's having fun here. It's a
Yeah.
side that I kind of don't expect because from what I've seen him in previously, he's played very serious roles. This looks like he's having a lot more fun. There is one scene. It probably might not even be in the film, or it might just look better in the film. That it might be cut a bit better in the film. I get it; it's a trailer and it's the first one, but there's a part. It's when they say something, and I get it. They kind of have to do it because it's a film with dinosaurs, whatever. But it's just annoying and it kind of cringy that it was said. It wasn't Mahershala Ali's character. I think it was someone else. But it's when they're on the boat and they do that whole oh, you should. That's very dangerous or something like that. And then the thing attacks. That's my only gripe with the
Yeah,
trailer. Everything else looks fun, relatively speaking. So, um, but yeah, no, I don't have really too much else to say. I know they were there was talks about doing a Fast and Furious X Jurassic World thing, which I would have been, you know,
yeah.
Vin Diesel riding a dinosaur, cool.
Now,
But I prefer this direction that they've taken.
there's a weird crossover I bring up every time that you say that, but I'd actually like to do a video on that, me and you, so I'm not going to bring it up.
Well,
About
bring it up.
MIB 23, Men in Black and 21 Jump Street crossover. That would have been
Yeah,
fucking hilarious. But
that
anyway,
needs to happen.
people might be thinking, why is this film happening? Why are they making another Jurassic World movie? Money talks. Each and every single one of them Jurassic World movies made over $1 billion. There is printing money at this point. Why wouldn't they go, I know, let's make another one, and if it does half as good, it still made 500 million, and we've made this film for about 180. That's a pretty big win. So they're gonna keep making these as long as they keep making money. Right, Kyle.
Indeed.
Let me take you back to 2023. Kang the Conqueror. There's a report out there at the moment from quite a reliable source, Screen Geek, that Kevin Feige has considered bringing back Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror to wrap up some of the loose ends in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that he may have left. Now, I'm not opposed to this. It kind of makes sense at the moment as well, because last week, 20th Century Studios released a trailer for the Jonathan Majors film that was delayed last year, Magazine Dreams. Or
Saw the trailer file. It looks good.
Yeah, it's so they're finally releasing that. So it looks like they're back on board of working with Majors. Now, obviously, they had to contractually release that film at some point. For me, it's just I don't know what loose ends they could be tying up. I know that it's been pretty much stated now that the TVA has dealt with the Kang variants. But, we're left with that big cliffhanger with the post-credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania with the Council of Kangs. That's the only thing I'm seeing. And look, we know Marvel were moving away from Kang anyway, even without the Jonathan Majors situation. So why would they be thinking about bringing him back? I think they want to bring him back for one scene and have Robert Downey Jr. as Doom just fuck up the Council of Kangs. I think that's probably, if it happens, I'm not saying it will happen, but if it does happen, that's what I think we will see. Also, Jonathan Majors, when asked about Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom, he says, he's happy for him and wishes him all the best, and he would like to come back as Kang as well. He said he still would. So, what do you think, Kyle? Jonathan Majors, back as Kang. Do you see there being too much risk to reward bringing him back? No matter what you think about the situation, he was, convicted of assault in a minor degree in a court of law. That's the facts, no matter how you feel about it. But what do you think about this?
Cheers, Matt Murdock. I'm not going to say I'm mixed. I'm pretty set on
Well, you
how
are.
I feel about it. What?
Mixed.
Well, yes, I am. Thank you for noticing. But no, I'd say like if you asked me this, Callum, say like 5-10 years ago, I'd say why?
I'd go, who's Kang?
Big. It's like no, it's more. If we were in the situation in the with current how social media and how people react to things. If you asked me like 10 years ago, I'd say this is too big a risk for such a small reward. If there's a reward at all, if anything, there could be backlash from it.
Yeah.
And it could really stain Marvel's brand even more. And it's the same with Disney. But I mean, you've seen. I'm not going to mention who, but you've seen people do very disturbing and disgusting things, and we've seen loads of, very very questionable things to the point where it's like what what the hell, like, kind of thing. So, but they've come back and they're more successful than ever, so why can't this be in this
Yeah.
situation now? This is because it was assault, and it was, it's not a situation where, say, Majors was convicted of, you know having drugs or doing something along them lines. He was actually, it involved somebody
Yeah.
else physically,
And
and
look,
that's where it's like
we
the
don't
line
know
should
what
be
actually
drawn.
happened still
No,
there. That's all we can say on
yeah,
that, really.
and so with that, I I think it. Yes, you could bring him back in this day and age, like this, as we are now, and I think people would be relatively okay with it. There'll be some people that hate it. Of course, there will be. You can't please everybody.
Yeah.
And there's some people that'll be like, yeah, okay, whatever. And there might be a few, very few amount that probably don't even know the whole situation and be like, oh, great, Kang's back. I love this character. Or, oh, shit, Kang's back. I didn't want this character to be back. So there's a lot. It's a wide spectrum of the amount of people that will want or won't want for various different reasons. Now, that being said, because they've already announced Doom, he's the next big bad. The Kang stuff wasn't really going anywhere. A lot of people didn't really
Yeah.
like where the Kang stuff was going, anyways. And the fact that we've been able to, without a film, without a single movie changing the story in the MCU, it's all been stuff outside in the, in real life with
Yeah.
the announcements and things like that. People's minds have already gone, right, that book on Kang is closed already now. It's gone. It's bye bye. It's in the past. It's like it didn't. It's like it never really existed. So why open up that book slightly, take a page out, and be like, oh yeah, let's connect it to this new stuff? It doesn't make sense to me, because so far the reaction to everything else that's come out, that's, the Doom stuff and RDJ coming back, it's all been positive. Why risk it having this
Yeah.
small thing bring it back? It seems way too risky
No,
for
look,
that.
I'm completely with you. I think the risk completely outweighs the reward for it being a 5 minute scene at maybe, let's say, the start of Doomsday or something like that. Thanos completely annihilated Xandar off screen, and we found that out with one sentence. You can do the same in Doomsday. He killed the Council of Kangs or something like that, completely destroyed him. You can do the same. So, I think, yeah, completely unnecessary to bring him back. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved Majors as Kang. Especially, when I've been looking into the story, I've been watching Kang scenes on my other monitor. It's just like, I love that scene between him and Janet when she says, when you get out of here, what are you going to do? And he just does that subtle turn look, not directly at the camera, but looking direction of the camera, and just says win, and starts like assembling his, his suit around him. I liked Majors as Kang, but you don't need to bring him back. I feel like it's been pretty clear now that we are going in this different direction. So let's go in that direction. Let's not go, we're going in this different direction now, but come on, just, alright, one last ride. I don't think any of them need that right now.
Yeah, I mean, and I know you said, you mentioned, obviously the only loose end you'd have to tie up is maybe the stuff at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Look, if you know, not the Quantumania film, now if you know anything about that film, that ending was changed due to it being
Yeah.
leaked. I think it was like very, just before the film was about to release, and they
2 weeks
changed it.
before
Yeah,
film.
so they
Yeah.
completely changed the ending. I'm pretty sure they reshot some elements of it and re-edited it all, and changed it so it would be fresh as something new. See, that was like on the era of Marvel where things weren't so great. Quantum Mania is evident of that. But yeah, I don't think it matters too much if you're trying to wrap up that one loose end from that one bad film that no one really gives a shit about. And the fact that the ending was changed anyways at such
Yeah.
short notice, just because it leaked, shows that, at that point in time, no one really cared even then. So why are you doing a change that could help this ending that no one really cares about? It don't make any sense to me.
Yeah, no, look, like I say, I completely get what you're saying, and like we said, it can very easily be done off screen. Doesn't need to be done on screen at all. If they want to say that Doom, even if they're going in that direction, that Doom, obliterated the Council of Kangs, which is what I can imagine the line they're probably going to go down. So, yeah, look, not against Majors. It's just I don't think he's needed for this at all, especially not in Doomsday. And look, people might be saying, isn't Marvel the home of second chances? Look at Robert Downey Jr. Look at what he did, with his career with Marvel. Yeah, and that Marvel was his second chance. That's what we're saying. Majors has been at Marvel, but it looks like he's going to maybe have his second win with this Magazine Dreams movie, which looks amazing, and I wish him all the best, and I'd love to see him back on top, because I think he's a tremendous actor. Kyle, why are you looking at me like you're going to kill me?
I'm gonna kill you.
And that was like a news anchor reply. That it's like we were just going into the studio, and then you were like, "Yeah." So anyway, Callum. Right. Anyway, let's get into some more Fantastic Four news. Kyle, Fantastic Four. The trailer for First Steps is the 8th biggest across all platforms in 24 hours. Now, there's some big winners in this category. So let's go with number 1. Deadpool and Wolverine, which had 365 million views in the first 24 hours across all platforms. Then we got Spider-Man No Way Home with 355 million in the first 24 hours. Then we've got Avengers Endgame. And then we've got Avengers Endgame again, in spot number 4. Both around, 290 for the first trailer, and then about 270 for the second trailer. Coming in at number 5, a trailer we got very recently, Superman, with 250 million views across all platforms in the first 24 hours. Coming in at number 6 is in Avengers Infinity War, with 230 million views in the first 24 hours. Number 7, The Lion King, 225 million views. So, and this is what number 8 was. It, obviously, Bill Skarsgård, It, that had 197 million views. Fantastic Four has taken its place with 202 million views in the first 24 hours across all platforms. So it has made it into the top 10, beating out Avengers Infinity War for its second trailer and The Lion King for its official trailer. So, do you know what a lot of these films have in common, Kyle? Apart from the one on this list that hasn't been released, which is Superman. They are all billion-dollar films. What do you think this says for the box office for Fantastic Four? Because I didn't think Fantastic Four would do crazy big numbers. But you look at it, it's on that list. Every film on that list has done the crazy big numbers. This is coming from a franchise which historically hasn't done too well. You got the 2005, 2007, 2 films. You've got the 2015 film, which completely fucking tanked. What do you think it is? Do you think we're in this era of hopeful, comic book accurate movies and people just want to see them? We're coming out of the dark times now, the dark and gritty, and it's like, I want to see some fun. Because Superman's up there as well.
I think it is all to do with a lot of synergy of what we've had come out recently. You had the Superman trailer, which I'd say mostly positive. I know that people will just like Snyder fans and whatnot, but they're
Sorry,
like the loudest, but they are the
just to cut you off,
smallest.
Kyle. Have you seen that the Batman
Yeah,
Arkham Reddit has gone to war with the Snyder Cut Reddit?
I have not
It
seen
is
that, but
the
that's fun.
funniest shit ever.
You'll have to show me tomorrow with
Yeah.
that. But that sounds really good. I can imagine there's some good shit on there. But so we've had the Superman trailer, which was crazy. Everyone I knew had seen it. Everyone were talking, buzzing about it online, except your Snyder fans. And then you had the Daredevil Born Again trailer, which was just perfection. Like everyone I spoke to about that, and there's people that I wouldn't expected to have seen it. Are like, this is fucking awesome,
Yeah.
and they cannot wait. And then, granted, the trailers have been good for Brave New World. I know we got them before Superman and
And
Daredevil, like,
it's getting a bit more of that positive spin now because it had this
yeah,
negative PR misinformation campaign going against it. And it's like, when you really look into it, it's like, oh man, none of this shit's true. It don't have a
yeah,
$350 million budget. It's actually one of the cheapest
yeah.
Marvel films that's been made in a long time.
But I'll say this for the trailers and stuff. The trailers have been really good. I especially like the one with Kendrick's soundtrack in the background. I did,
Oh,
I did.
from
Short
Mr. Morale.
trailer.
Yeah, Mr. Morale and Big Steppers. It's when tickets went on
Yeah,
sale,
I
that
did.
one.
Yeah, I really like that one. So the trailers have been fine. They've been okay, I guess. They sort of get you excited. But yeah, I think it's just that, and people have been dying to see the Fantastic Four, and people know about the, because you got. I don't want to say like your regular movie goers. They'll be like, oh. I know about the Fantastic Four. I know they had some films years ago. I know they're somewhat to do with Marvel. They're a
Marvel's first
superhero
family.
family. Yeah, and you've got all these Marvel fans that are like, oh, they're bringing the Fantastic Four, and it's like when the X-Men technically joined the MCU with Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine. I think combining these two, you're gonna get a lot of excitement. Now you bring the Fantastic Four, which was very much an Fox thing. Now it's part of the MCU. There's loads of different things that can just bring it in. And the cast,
Yeah.
not to mention them, you've got a fucking outstanding cast. All I'm seeing is great buzz around this. I think
Even the Snyder
the
fans
trail,
seem to be loving the.
even the Snyder, yeah, yeah. So,
It's not to do
but I
with.
think it's
It's not to do with. Let's go
it's
watch this so Superman fails.
well, another thing I want to say as well, how people were complaining about, I know you've said this and I completely agree with you about superhero fatigue and there's too many superhero films and people are getting sick of them. Well, you can't really say that because, it's like having a gangster film and then every other gangster film after that is not as good, or is it,
Yeah.
it's fatigue, people don't want to watch them, blah, blah, blah. It's not that, it's just bad films. People are fatigued of bad films. And we've had a bit of a break. You only had Deadpool and Wolverine last year. And that was like really the only good superhero film. It was the only superhero film from Marvel. So people have been waiting out. They've had a bit of a break. It's kind of like, it's like, okay, we've had some time to heal. Show us what you got, Marvel. And so
Yeah.
far, from the announcements, things have just been rolling on, and it's like a snowball effect. It keeps getting better.
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you. We're in this positive area now, and it's like, right, Brave New World needs to pick up the torch and run with it. After Deadpool and Wolverine, he needs to carry it just for 3 weeks. Carry that torch just for 3 weeks. Daredevil Born Again. Then it's Born Again's turn to run all the way through to May, and then pass the torch on to Thunderbolts, and then Thunderbolts needs to do some heavy lifting and take it to, even though it's not MCU, take it to Superman, and then Superman takes it to Fantastic Four, because, like Kevin Feige once said, DC, it's not a compare. It's like, if they're making good comic book movies, and we're making good comic book movies, people are going to go see them both. Because they see it as a comic book movie, they're going to go, oh, well, the last one was good, I'll go see the other one. If they're winning, they're winning. That's how it usually works. But where do you think this is going to end up, box office wise? Because I would not have thought that this film could touch $1 billion.
If it can keep if it can keep up the positive press
Yeah.
and the positive, sort of keep people wanting more and keep, make sure there's sort of no thing that you show in the, in the trailers or whatever that people won't like. So far, people have loved everything. I mean, one thing I kind of wish they'd change ever so slightly, but it's like a minor thing and it's something I'll probably get used to, so I'm not that bothered anyways. And that's the thing's actual voice.
Yeah.
Sounds too normal. I know we said this before, but a friend at work also agreed with me on that. So thank God I'm not the only one. But again, it's not one of those things that's going to be like, oh, this movie's fucking shit. The effects look awesome. The look of the film looks awesome. It's very unique in its tone and it's the way it's set out. It doesn't really look like a Marvel film. It's got that feel of it, but it doesn't look it. And yeah, the one other thing I'd say is people are complaining about Galactus being small. I think he'll probably grow big. If not, if he is that size, okay, cool. I don't
At
really
least
care.
he's not a cloud.
At least he's not a fucking cloud. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I think, personally, if this happens, this will be really cool. But if it doesn't, fine. But I think that Galactus, when he grows or he starts powering up and getting all the energy, he'll start to look more like the comic book accurate
Yeah.
purple with the blue, a little bit of blue in there. And I think that's what they might do in it, and that's why they're showing so very little. But if they don't, okay, I'm not bothered. It's just an aesthetic choice. But the fact that we already know he's got that big weird dome helmet thing,
Yeah.
I'm it's more like a tube really, but yeah, I'm fine with it. As you know, so far it's winning me over.
Yeah, me too. Do you think we're in for a super-tastic July then? Because I don't think there's ever been a month in history where a film's come out and released $2 billion movies. It could happen in the month of July. Now, they're not all going to make $1 billion in July. Obviously, Fantastic Four comes out at the back end. Superman comes out in the middle. But for them both to release in July and both make $1 billion, that would be fucking nuts. And now that they're both on this list, they're both on that list of proven $1 billion films that make it onto that list. I don't see how it... Yeah, there's a good chance it can't happen if the films are bad, bad quality films and stuff like that. But I were kind of rooting against, especially Superman. I think it's going to be great, but I were kind of rooting against it making a lot of money, like last year. But then that trailer came out and everyone's interested in it. It's like, oh fuck, I didn't think Fantastic Four would have the same interest. Yeah, 50 million behind, but it's up there. Like all time up there.
I'll say this. I think that just being realistic here, and this is just a theory, it's more of like statistics, but you gotta think DC hasn't had a great track record, and again, this is, if you're a proper, into your comic book stuff and your movies and stuff, then you'll know that's, technically kind of not the case necessarily. It's just, they have had a not so great track record, yes.
Only $1 billion film, I believe, in Aquaman.
But the average movie going audience will be like, DC have, so far they've just given us not so great stuff, and some okay stuff, and, rarely anything really good. Say like Wonder Woman and Man of Steel, I think they're like probably the only two. But whereas Marvel, because they've been at it a lot longer and they've gained so much trust from average movie-going audiences, Fantastic Four is more likely to crack $1 billion than Superman. I think so, yeah. You got to factor in that about it. And I get, the trailer for Superman and things like that, yeah, it may have more, but Marvel have got that loyalty there from
All right.
years and years ago. And I personally think Marvel is more popular, but DC has a more popular. I think Batman's the most pop. I think Batman is more popular than certain aspects of Marvel, but Marvel is
Yeah.
popular than DC itself.
Okay, I'll have to look into that more because I'm not too sure. I love them both, but I think everybody knows the big three is Batman, Superman, and Spider Man when it comes to terms of notability for a superhero. But yeah, look, I would have to disagree. I think if there's going to be any film in July that hits 1 billion, I think it'll be Superman and Fantastic Four behind it. Don't get me wrong, I'm a bigger Marvel guy. I'd love to see Fantastic Four succeed and make more than Superman. But yeah, these numbers don't lie though. There's a good chance that they both do, because everyone in that club, in that top 10 trailers in the first 24 hours, has done it. So nice, Kyle Zoom. Right, come on, Kyle. Let's get on to our last topic. You saucy devil. X-Men. We love the X-Men. This is coming to us from Jeff Schneider. Apparently, X-Men's going to be shooting next year for a 2027 release. That's right, the X-Men movie will be coming out just after Avengers Secret Wars. I would have thought they'd have wanted like a break or something like that and then start the next year with X-Men. But this kind of makes me believe we're probably going to get some of our X-Men cast that will lead into the new universe after Secret Wars. Because think about it, we've already got the Fantastic Four cast, and they will continue on, with a soft reboot. So why can't we do that with a few of our X-Men as well? So I think we might actually start seeing some X-Men casting soon. But what do you think, Kyle? What do you think? Maybe X-Men like a July or November release date in 2027 after Secret Wars? Do you think it's too soon? Do you think we need a little bit of time to breathe, or do you think it'll have that Spider-Man Far From Home synergy where that made over 1 billion because it came out like 2 months after Endgame?
No, I don't think so. I think it's I no I mean let me start again. I think it's better for Marvel to do this because as we've just spoke about when we were talking about the Fantastic Four, is Marvel has got like such a long history of like doing so well, and it's got that fan base, it's got that loyalty there. So for me, I would personally say it makes sense for Marvel to do that rather than having a weird break. Because if you
Yeah.
have that break and do what you did after Endgame, yeah, you still had Marvel films. You had Shang-Chi,
Well, kind of like
Eternal,
COVID, wasn't it?
Spider-Man.
It put them on back
But
burner for a year.
yeah, yeah. So COVID is an definitely a big factor in that. But then you have the whole thing of like, look, we have just had a whole year pass with one Marvel film. We can't. We need to keep that train going. Yeah, we're going to cut down on how many projects we do. Like say shows and movies we're going to pump out every year. But like to balance it out, I think is to be consistent in every year, because if you do it where it's like the way it felt like they were doing it, I'm probably wrong, but the way it felt like
You're wrong.
is loads of shit here, and then obviously it was only 1 year, but last year we got one thing, we got absolutely fuck all. We got
Writer's
Deadpool and
strike and
Wolverine.
actor's strike. Big part to play in
Yeah,
that as well.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's factors in with those things, but what I'm saying is even with that, Marvel was still greenlighting loads of shit,
Yeah.
and it didn't work out for them. So this looks like they're going back to how they started, not how they started, but what was working for them, what was going well, and just keeping it consistent every year. So it's like you've got something to look forward to. But again, they need to keep that quality bar as high as they can bring it, because if it goes down just once, it can really have a knock-on effect for films releasing after.
Yeah. No, it can. Look, I think, it's best to do two films a year again. That's when they was at the best, with 2 films a year. But it kind of makes sense because we've got untitled Marvel projects for 2027, and we've got untitled Marvel projects for next year that we don't even know what they're gonna be. It's next year they come out, and we don't know what these films are gonna be. People are assuming Blade, maybe Doctor Strange. We know that Armor Wars is on the back burner for Don Cheadle. I don't think we're going to see that now. I think Don Cheadle's probably going to be aged out of the role by the time it comes to making it. So I don't think we're going to see that. But yeah, 2027, finish with Avengers Secret Wars, put us in this new universe, and then explore it right away. Don't wait around, because I feel like that's what COVID did for you. You had a lot of waiting around to do, and you had a lot of time to think of dumb shit to do as well. Like Bob Chapek were like, right, yeah, let's do this, let's do that, let's put everything on streaming. When you can tell with a lot of these streaming shows, we've probably been serviced better as movies. So that's why they had to get Bob Iger back. But yeah, straight in with X-Men, straight into the new universe. It'll do well. I do think we are going to see some of our X-Men in Avengers Secret Wars probably, so we probably will start seeing some casting from that.
And the X-Men's going to be very different from what we've seen before. It's going to be like more in line with the comics, like X-Men 97. They brought that back, and people love it. People want to see that X-Men. They don't want to see, as great as some of the Fox projects were. Yeah, as great that as well. But as great as the Fox stuff was, there was a lot of shit there too. I'm acknowledging that, but it had its own style. It had its own look and feel, and like Callum said, it was very much X-Men with friends for a lot of it. Wolverine with friends for a lot of those movies, and it was only later on that they started to break away from the Wolverine thing. And apart from maybe apart from First Class and Future Days of Future Past, Days of Future Past was still
a Wolverine film.
Yeah. So apart from just First Class, it didn't really work out for them. You had Apocalypse, which
which does have a fucking badass Wolverine scene in it. Apocalypse.
Yeah, and then you had Dark obviously Phoenix. The Dark Phoenix, which I didn't even watch. I never bothered with
it. Still not watched it either.
Yeah. So, and you look at the Fantastic Four and like how they were done in the Fox universe. Like, I have a soft spot for the at least the first film, Silver Surfer, maybe. No, I'd probably say Silver Surfer.
And they also
I grew up watching that. Yes, I grew up watching that when I was a kid, so I have a soft spot for that film. But when it came to the Fan Four stick, great cast again, but the film, I've not seen it. I refuse to watch it. I know, Callum, you've only put it on as you're going to sleep, so you've technically not watched it. Yeah, I'm not going to waste my time on something that I'm pretty sure will just be bad anyways. I know it's subjective and people can like, and if you like it, good for you. That's awesome. The majority are saying this film is terrible. So you look at that, you look at how they've taken it back to its roots with Fantastic Four. We've seen that blow up, we've seen that go crazy. People are excited for it, even though they had barely any sort of like attention in the older films, and they weren't any good either. This is like, it's the same with the X-Men, but the X-Men had a bigger presence, like more people were aware of X-Men.
Yeah.
And so when they're going forward with this, X-Men's going to be big, and it's like they're going to capitalize on that, make good out of that Fox purchase as quick as they can, but in do it in a way where it's good, that it's not rushed. Because we've had plenty of time. We've had plenty of time now, so it's yeah.
Do you know what we need to do leading up to Fantastic Four coming out?
Go on.
What we did for Deadpool and Wolverine. Looking at the X-Men films and X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Come on. I just think it would be...
Come on.
I'm just gonna be like this. I'm just like, so guys, talking about Fan 4 stick. It's fucking shit. Thank you. Subscribe.
We could do it as a shot.
Yes, we could do it as a shot. Actually, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
down for that.
Right, guys. Thanks for watching. We've been Movies and Beyond. This is my very handsome co-host, Kyle. Say goodbye, Kyle. People might be offended by that, but fuck it, roll dice, let's see what
Why?
happens. Do you know how many Chewbacca people are out there that you just offended?
I wasn't a Chewbacca. That was just
Mate,
me dying.
you can't do it and pull the faces implications. Right, see you later, everyone.